So Chuck, Todd's mom is watching, okay?
Okay. So what am I not supposed to talk about?
No, you know.
Okay, we might be live on Facebook at this point, but we'll just give everybody a minute to get on and then we'll get started.
Everybody's got to bring their black rimmed glasses. I guess that's the theme for the evening.
We should have sent the memo.
Yes.
I'm just scrolling through the attendees and just want to say hi to everybody. Thank you for coming. This is so amazing. I'll try not to cry throughout this whole thing.
Well, that's less fun. We were counting on that, Todd.
So good evening, everyone, and welcome to this virtual event we have to celebrate the publication of Little Pieces of Hope, Happy Making Things in a Difficult World by our dear friend and master publicist, Todd Doughty. I am here with my colleagues. I'm with Watermark Books and Cafe in Wichita. I'm here with my colleagues, Jenny Werhill-Hemmeter. How'd I do?
Werhill-Hemmeter, you're good.
Okay, and Daniel from Anderson's Bookshop in Naperville, Indiana, Illinois, and Daniel Golden from Boswell Books in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We are going to be joined, Todd will be in conversation with Chelsea Cain and Chuck Palahniuk, who are also amazing. But before we turn the virtual stage over to Todd and Chuck and Chelsea, I want to, the booksellers here on the panel want to give some Todd love and talk about what this book means to us. So Jenny's going to go first, then I will, then Daniel, and then we'll turn over the stage to the special authors we have.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Jenny Werhill-Hemmeter from Anderson's Bookshops, and I'm so happy to be here celebrating our friend Todd, and here with Chuck and Chelsea as well, and my friends Daniel and Sarah from the bookselling side. I have the dubious distinction of my birthday was the day that the WHO declared the pandemic on March 11th of 2020. I was in the basement of the bookstore. And of course, everybody just thought, oh gosh, what does this mean? And as usual, when we needed him, there is Todd on the internet telling us all things to make our lives better and to show us the light. Even though we didn't know if there was an end at the tunnel or where that end was, Todd was there to show us that. And he just inspires that way all the time in working relationship, but also with these amazing lists that became this amazing book. And so I love this book because I'm going to put it in the hands of everybody that walks through the door now, because it's the perfect little gift. Do you just need a little bite size of something amazing? Do you need to feel better about the world today? Then here, read a little bit of this book, a little bit here, a little bit there, or read the whole darn thing, whatever you'd like to do. But honestly, in watching Todd talk about all these things online, it has made me stop to think of all the things that make me happy in a certain day. So I'm going to give you my little list of happy making things just from today. Today happens to be one of my daughter's 9th birthday. So I'm going to start off with a 9-year-old with brand new roller skates who didn't fall in the driveway, but ran over my toe. My junior high student had twinning day where she wore the same shirt as her best friend. Other things today, vegan leather pants make me happy. Having the answer to a question and the solution for a problem. 92-year-old grandmas who are delighted by the hair that you've had since puberty every time you see her, again and again. Colleagues who take things off your plate, a spouse who does the dishes, vegetarian sushi, and probably most importantly, turning a work contact into, I hope, a lifelong friend and watching them accomplish something so great as all of this. So congratulations, Todd. Thank you for bringing a little bit of hope to the world through this book, but just through you every day.
Oh, you already
I
got
did it.
me.
I made him cry.
We're in this 2 minutes and I'm already crying.
First blood.
Yes.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you. I love that. I love that you made your own list.
We love you.
Feeling is mutual.
All right, back to you, Sarah.
Okay, thank you, Jenny. You have the background, you did the list. I don't know how I follow except to say that I met Todd about 15 years ago, and I went into this big room at Doubleday, and I was with some other colleagues, and there were all these people there, and Todd connected with, I want to say me and no other person in that world, in that room, but I have to say that he connected with every single person in that room, and he made them feel special, and he made me open up, and he has been supportive of my store in Wichita, Kansas for 15 years, maybe not with everything I wanted, but certainly with his caring and, well, hey, but with most things that I wanted, Chuck, John Grisham, I mean, and I'll never forget, this is how personal Chuck is, and Chuck, this is how personal Todd is. I'm going to start crying too, and how well he does his job. I was at BEA one year, and I got invited to sit at Margaret Atwood's table and Erin, and they were speaking at BEA, and Todd comes up to me, and I'm thinking, who doesn't belong here? And it's me, because it's, you know, Margaret Atwood and all the people. And Todd comes up to me and says, have you met Margaret yet? And I'm just kind of like, well, no, Todd. And he's like, well, come on. And he goes over and he introduces me to her. And it is like, I'm her, you know, Todd is the consummate professional. He is, I just can't say how much I love him so much. I've made friends through him. He's made friends with my friends. He's kept, you know, Kansas City and Wichita connected to New York. And I just could not be more honored to be able to sell his book, one that is addictive in its happiness and its charm and its personal approach to everything. And the essays that he's written to his mother about moving to New York and starting his career. And there is one for Halloween. It's a special edition. You need to be sure and check this one out. And Todd, we love you. I am going to have so much fun selling this book, and I'm going to turn it over to Daniel now.
Thank you, Sarah. Oh, that really
Oh my
means a
God, oh
lot
my God,
to
oh my
me.
God, oh my God. I
Thank
like
you.
to always, I really should never shut off my, but then there'd be awful sounds. It's not pretty. So maybe it's better that I just a lot. I'm so grateful for being part of this. I'm so grateful for the book. I love that Little Pieces of Hope works in so many ways for me. I'm the kind of person who takes a reference book and reads it in order. So it's going to take a little while for me to get through everything, but it works for me as of hope, of course, but it's a memory book. It's a connecting book. It's a scavenger hunt. It's so many things. In fact, I just wanted to say all the musical references, and there were so many interesting things around. Like, I'm going to go home and find the most obscure album that Todd references. And so first I looked for my Frasier chorus singles and albums, can't find that. And then I looked for Pretty Polity, a little more popular, but still only one hit wonder in the United States. I can't find that, even though I just spent like hours watching all their videos again. And then I said, okay, I can find Erasure. So I found my import copy of Wild that has Blue Savannah.
Oh my gosh.
Because Erasure shows up on not one, but two mixtapes. So with their beautiful 1980s sense of wonder. I have loved the connecting of Todd, who loves and knows everybody. One of my favorite people came in, Diane Choi, who said, I worked with Todd. And I was like, oh. And then today I got an email from Bill Goldstein, who said, I feel disloyal to you because I have to go to another event, but I'm going to the event tomorrow. So he apologized for me because he's going to a different Todd.
No worries.
Yes, well, he's forgiven from, well, no worries for you, but I lost somebody. Wonderful. I am excited about selling it too. It'll be on an impulse table. And I almost feel like you could create your own mixtape. For goodness sake, you could make your own collage or artwork from this book. I just have the honor of introducing our two conversation partners today. I did all this research and I said, I have 7 different ways about how much Chuck Palahniuk, because how many books he's written. And then Sarah said to me, Daniel, you could just use the bio that the publicist gave you. And I said, okay. But I do have to do my own touch. And I just want to say that we are very grateful for having hosted Chuck and Chelsea in the store at UWM Ballroom, and also Chelsea in the store. And so we're so glad to be helping with this event as well. And I just want to say that all the mailings that Chuck's given us over the years of very strange things have paid off. And I do have one of my hands here that are still by my side away. So I wanted to say hello for that. Chuck Palahniuk has been a nationally best-selling author since his first novel, 1996, is The Fight Club, was made into an acclaimed David Fincher film of the same name. Chuck's work has sold millions of copies. He lives outside Portland. And I just want to say that though at last count, what I got was 19 novels, 3 nonfiction books, 2 graphic novels, and 2 coloring books, and several short stories. Chelsea Cain is a New York Times bestselling thriller author, Eisner-nominated comic book creator, and a founding partner of the Ministry of Trouble. Her 6 internationally best-selling Archie Sheridan, Gretchen Lowell thrillers have been published in 30 languages. The 12-episode TV show Gone, produced by NBC Universal International Studios, starring Chris Noth, is based on Cain's thriller One Kick. But my very favorite thing was when I looked up the in Fantastic Fiction, when they were listing the books under graphic novels, they said, sorry, we're not listing graphic novels by this author. I don't know what that means. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Ginny and Sarah. We're so happy to be here. Thank you, Chuck and Chelsea, for joining me tonight. I love you guys. I'm so happy we're together.
We love you. Are you seeing the chat, Todd? All of these people from all over the world who are congratulating you?
No,
It's
but I will look.
Yeah, you should look. You should totally look.
But we can start talking.
Yeah. Hi, Chuck.
Hey, Chelsea. So do you have a Todd list? Because I've got a long Todd list. Things that Todd.
Remember, we talked about the fact that Todd's mom is watching.
Oh, yeah. I won't go into detail, but fake laugh. Ha, ha, ha. Do you remember fake laugh?
I've done the fake laugh.
The fake laugh in Ashland? No.
Asheville.
In North Carolina, right?
Mhm.
Yes, we won't go into that.
No.
Boy, Eli. We'll just let Eli go, okay?
These are
Claire?
all code words from us going on tour for so long together.
Do you remember Claire?
Yes, I do.
Just before we got T-boned and we were crushed in a car together. Todd and I
That
were
is
in a huge car accident.
Denver,
Yeah.
Colorado.
Oh,
And
you're not supposed to
you-
say.
Oh, sorry. But you, ever the trooper, I was like, I think you need to go to the hospital. And you were like, no, I'm good. We have an event in an hour and a half. I'm like, we just got T-boned in a car. I think you have to go to the hospital. And you're like, no, I'm fine. We'll go to the event. You went to the hotel, we grabbed food, you changed your clothes, we got back in the car, we went to the sold out event that night because you, sir, are a trooper.
And we were stuck standing at the side of the road in the sun for 6 hours, and we got sunburns while people
Yes.
honked at us. Traffic was backed up for miles, and people honked at us and flipped us off like we had caused this huge accident.
And we were okay. That was the miracle.
Ah,
Yeah, just one more concussion. It's back. It's fine.
so what does candy corn hurt like?
Well, just candy corn hurts like a bad word. That is from, so the folks who are watching who may not know, Chuck's events are legendary. And one of the things that's amazing, there are games, there are prizes,
And
there
at
are,
some point, he assaults the audience.
Yes, and then there are things thrown into the audience, and we threw candy, hundreds of dollars of worth of Halloween candy into the audience. And I think it was me, right? And I chucked a bag of candy, which is ironic because I cannot do sports to save my life, and that is encompassing all sports. And I thwacked someone accidentally in the face, and it was not fun. That was a bad thing.
With a huge bag of candy corn.
That's
And
right.
when that thing is coming at you, and it wasn't your
Were you
fault
throwing the
because
whole bag, or did you threw the bag of candy?
you always throw the bag.
No,
Because,
You take the candy out of the bag, man.
no,
That would have been
no.
worse.
It would end up on the floor. It would be a mess. Chelsea,
All right.
I remember Todd's secret superpower. Todd and I are the only two people in the entire world who know all the lyrics to Gilda Radner's song. Todd, what is that song?
Let's Talk Dirty to the Animals.
Yes.
That
And
made it on. That's a playlist. It's on one of the playlists in the book.
And we sang that all through one tour. Every time we were in a car, we sang that. And did you know that right behind those trees over there, there's a house that's worth over $7.5 million? And you can't see it from here, but just over there's another house that's worth $3.5 million. Kansas City.
That's right. That's right. Out in the Midwest.
And do you remember the ticket agent? We were booking a flight and we were going to put your luggage under my name so we wouldn't have to pay the fee. And the guy said, I've never done it that way. Let's see what happens.
Such a bad idea.
I wrote a whole story based on just that one sentence that guy said.
Yes, you did. And you know, we were always very lucky in the airports. Like I don't think we ever missed an event. We were never late on a flight. We always had such good luck, and we would go out on the road because your tours are always really extensive and big, and like 10 cities and such. And then there was, of course, the year that you, Monica Drake, and Chelsea, we were all together for 6 cities. Is that 5 cities?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember on that particular tour, I had a delay because TSA was really interested when they scanned my bag, the fact that I had like 200 severed fingers and just pajamas.
Well, you guys always had amazing prizes and stuff at the events. I mean, there were always toys and things thrown out to the audience. I remember once we were at Tippy Tina's in New Orleans with like 900 people on a sweltering night. And it was just this crazy, wonderful event. Chuck would give the it's the Easton Press editions, is that right? Of the leather-bound fight clubs and such for people. But the amazing thing about those times of like coming together, and even tonight with everybody that's here, is just that communal experience. And you guys always made it so fun. And I remember, Chuck, one of the things that was always incredible to see is how you would connect with your fans, and you have this memory that is a steel trap, and you remembered names and dates and places and had a real connection to people. And it was always sort of that just magic, ineffable thing about the events and the connecting to the audience. And it was incredible. It was so much fun.
I'm going to jump in because I think that like I love that too so much, and I think that is what you're doing here, right? Wow. Really, is like there's such a sense of connection reading this. Like I was telling Todd, like I tried to do like a little selfie video where I was just going to read a page and post it, and I couldn't do it without ugly crying, like not in a sad way, but in just like being just so deeply moved.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah, and like it's just like I'm going to be buying 15 copies of this book, 5 from each of these wonderful independent bookstores,
well,
and giving them to everybody I love at Christmas.
Well, thank you, my friend. So today is the publication date and on sale date, and it's so wonderful and kind of surreal to be here, because when this whole thing started, it was I'd say like we can blame Metro North, which is our commuter rail here in New York, for this whole thing happening, because I wrote that first little list on March 11th, and it was a scary time, and we didn't go, our offices shut down on the 13th of March. But it was about going to that place that kind of celebrates the things that bring you joy in life. And, that first list that day had, everything on it, from like a fat goldfish to New York, to a really good burger, to a really bad DJ at a wedding that becomes a really good DJ at a wedding, to any movie of Katharine Hepburn's, but especially her entrance in Lion in Winter, Lin-Manuel Miranda, The Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Baisley, Frank Weiler. And it was all these things that kind of just bring me happiness. And I just kept going. Like the next day I did it, and then the next day I did it. And then pretty soon the list just kind of became this thing that I was doing every day. I did everything on my iPhone notes, because I was adamant, well, I really didn't want to repeat things. You'll see there are little Easter eggs throughout, like the Addams Family pops back up, Mrs. Onassis pops back up. But I was able to kind of research everything and keep it. I wanted to keep the momentum of the lists. I joked today, I actually said we should call it a Doughty daily devotional.
I think that there's like beyond the content, which is so nostalgic and so connecting and, cozy in the best sense, right? Like, it just makes me, like, there's so many feels on every page. But like, I think the fact that it is this wonderful pandemic project of just self-care that, like, I find really inspiring, where it's just seeing this project grow page by page, and the fact that you stuck with it, and you are telling yourself a story to like, it's like paper Prozac.
Oh, I love that. Well, the interesting thing is, with the list, like a friend of mine once said, like everybody carries around an invisible bag of rocks. Like, you don't know how heavy it is for them. And I think, we're in an unprecedented time, but whether it's kind of just a regular battle day, or you're going through a really tough time, there are those touchstones that get you through. I mean, Chuck, I've seen it with your fans, of like, your books got them through. And Chelsea, I know the same thing has happened to you. And I think we all connect to these different things, be it a feeling or a memory or a TV show. I mean, I swear to God, Dan Levy and the entire cast of Schitt's Creek got me through the opening of all of this, because I hadn't watched the show. And then when it was over, we finished it a few weeks later, and the madness was still happening. And I remember the last episode, it was just the ugly cry. Yeah. And Randy was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "But it's over," and you have these connections to things and places and people. And that's really kind of what I wanted to do in the book. And when Meg Letter, my genius editor at Penguin, she's like, "Okay, so we're going to need about 50% new material in here." And I was like, okay. So I actually added, there are about, I think it's 41 additional lists that I never posted. There's 16 different essays in there, from That Song That Got You Through. Mine was You Ought to Know by Alanis Morissette. Red Velvet Cake, Taking the Leap. There's one about It's a Wonderful Life, Live Like Mary Bailey from It's a Wonderful Life, which I think my parents are watching. They are huge Jimmy Stewart fans. And, long before that became sort of this ubiquitous staple, like, they love this movie. There's memorabilia in the house, old posters and art by the film. I wrote about that. I wrote about Templeton and Oscar the Grouch. So it was really just kind of a labor of love throughout. And it was just, I hope that if you pick it up and you read a page, or you read a few pages, that it can just give you that just burst of happiness.
We've had several questions in the chat, or prompts.
Oh.
Call it, like,
sure.
To hear your Katharine Hepburn story.
Okay, well, I think My college roommate, Casey, and his husband are watching. So Casey was a part of this. And so I'm a big Hepburn fan. You will see that in the book. Josie Portillo is the amazing artist who drew everything on the cover that you see and did all of the art throughout, which is incredible. Sabrina Bowers is the designer at Penguin who designed the book. It's just incredible. It became this object. And one of Josie's amazing pieces of art, one of my favorite movies is Bringing Up Baby. And Josie drew the scene where the dinosaur falls apart at the end and Kate is there with Cary Grant. But yeah, when we moved to New York, we saw Katharine Hepburn. I will make it very short. We went on a Thursday. We ring the doorbell. We have flowers. Her favorite flower was Queen Anne's lace. That's also in the book. The doorbell rings and a woman answers and she says, "You really, really should not have done this." And I said, "Oh, you're Nora. You're the housekeeper. You're her housekeeper. How did you know this?" "Ah, big fan." So we come in to the kitchen to give her the flowers and she says, "Did you leave a note?" And I said, "No. We just moved here. We moved here from Illinois. We drove out in a U-Haul after graduation." And she said, "Well, write down your address. I'm sure she'll want to thank you." So, we're there. And then I'm furiously writing and I don't hear this, but Casey sees the door swing open and hears, "Who the hell are they and what do they want?" And then Nora says, "Oh my God, you have to go, you have to go." So we leave, we get down the block and I realize I'd given our new apartment address, but I forgot the zip code in addition to not hearing her. So Friday morning, we ring the bell, it's a bigger bouquet. Nora answers the door and I said, "Hi, Nora, it's us. Did she leave for Connecticut already?" Because I knew she went to her weekend house. "Oh, she did. And she loved the flowers. And come tell my friends about how you drove this U-Haul out here." So we come in, we visit, and she says, "Why don't you show up on Monday night? Maybe I'll try to get you in." And we're like, "Oh my God," And so Monday night, bigger bouquet of flowers, ring the doorbell, Nora's there. And then, unfortunately, Miss Hepburn had company that evening, but here in the apartment is a framed note from her on her personal stationery. So that was the result of being 22 and completely idiotic and stalking your idol in New York City.
That's an important lesson, a teachable moment.
I don't know about that.
What I would love, Todd, is if you would consider just reading a little bit
sure.
of this, just to kind of let people who are tuning in get a sense of what it is we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I will just randomly flip open and we'll see where we land. Here we go. Okay, I'll just read about half of this. It's fairly short. Happy making things in a difficult world. The power of dissent. The fact that light bulbs power an easy bake oven. That black and white 1993 Jose R. Lopez photo, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg on her first day on the Supreme Court. That moment when your life cracks open. Not stepping on a sidewalk crack. Cracking open a bottle of Sancerre. Cleo Lane's recording of I'm Beginning to See the Light. Chicken pot pie. The Fisher-Price chatter telephone, which I had as a child. Warm croissants with jam and a cup of hot coffee. That January 23rd, 2013 Smithsonian Magazine article by Karen Abbott, Everything Was Fake But Her Wealth. Thinking a combine is moving quickly through a wheat field when it's actually going about 4 miles per hour. Sifting the flour. Quote, I can name that song in 5 notes, end quote. The fact that approximately 30,000 quills cover a porcupine. Soft Cell's recording of Tainted Love, the extended version with Where Did Our Love Go included at the end. The sizzling sound of something hitting a hot griddle. The haphazard way a small child sets the table. The utterly bizarre and wonderful collection at the Mutter Museum at the College of Physicians of Philadelphia. And that is one of Josie's drawings at the Mutter.
So great.
But that kind of gives you a sense of what the lists were. For me, it was kind of this zigzag, random, scattershot, sort of potpourri of everything. And there are little connections throughout. There are little Easter eggs throughout. And, what we took the book and we were very careful about the rhythm of it. You'll see pages with individual entries themselves or multiple things or interconnected things. But we wanted to give it a real sense of kind of the lists themselves. When we were talking about the design, I told Meg, I was like, well, I think that it should just kind of look zigzag and maybe big fonts and different sizes and different fonts and, just be a real reading experience. And that was it. And then Sabrina worked her particular kind of magic, and it just became this really awesome little piece of art.
It is an awesome little piece of art, and it is, it is the perfect gift book, for any holiday.
Thank you.
No, like really, because it is truly a gift, because it's so much more than the object, because you're providing people with this whole interaction that they can have. I just love it.
Even kind of how we were talking a little bit earlier, what my hope is that, like there's sort of this fine line between memory and discovery, right? Like remembering something you love or finding something you love that's new. And the goal from this is like, there might be people who read a list and they don't like something. So I just said, like, cross it out, write your own thing in there. Like that's what it's for. If it doesn't lead you to something and leads you in a different direction, that's okay, because the experience and the joy should absolutely be yours. But I think the most interesting thing about this today was like, not to get all woo-woo, but I was thinking like, whenever you experience something, a book, a movie, a song, a recipe, whatever that is, and there's a lot of those in here. I mean, there's over 3,000 items in the book itself. You have a connection to it, and like having this out in the world today, I hope people make their own connection to it. I hope they make their own connection to joy. I hope they make their own connection to their own lists. That was really kind of how this all started. And when the posts would come up, and Chelsea, you commented on a lot of them and put different things of your own in there. It was amazing to see people react. It's really moving.
I love you so much, Todd.
The feeling is mutual.
So tell me about when you guys first met, because I heard about you, Todd, for so long before I actually got to meet with you and go into the foxhole.
I can remember exactly when it was. It was 2004. And Chuck came to Penguin Random House for a paperback signing of Haunted, organized by our late friend Russell Perot at Vintage Books. And we were on the second floor at the cafeteria, and there is Chuck. And I was like, oh, and I knew that I was going to be working with him because my colleague Emily was leaving Doubleday. And Russell brought me up to Chuck to introduce him. And you were so kind and gentle and just immediately warm and enveloping. And I don't know, we just had this instant connection from the get-go. I mean, I've been so lucky in my publicity career for so many reasons. And one of those is not only Chuck and your friendship and your mentorship, and I'm going to try not to get verklempt, but the fact that we got to go so many places all over the country together. You opened a world of all the booksellers for me, because normally what a publicist does, we're behind the scenes. Like me doing this tonight is absolutely bonkers that I am on this side of the publishing fence to begin with, but we're always behind the scenes, and to go out on the road and kind of meet everybody and see where the events were held. And again, your events are always, when you do what I call the show, like there are these big, extravagant, wonderful hours-long evenings. And just to be there by your side and watch all of that happen was amazing. But you really, because I was able to help you with the events and go, it really opened a whole world of bookseller friends like Daniel and Sarah and Ginny and many, many more for me. I will also tell you another good Chuck story, which was one year no, this is a good one. You'll like this.
Okay.
This is turning into a Chuck Palahniuk roast, which I love.
No, it's not a roast. It's a good one. So we were at BEA one year in New York, which was our annual book expo convention where all the authors come in, everybody sort of celebrates the coming year in books. And we have we have traditionally had this huge Knopf Doubleday party. And this night it was really epic. Chuck was in town. I saw Lori Zook is here, who's from our amazing sales team. She was up as well. Hi, Lori. And we were all at Cognac, RIP, which is no longer. And it was just a star-studded night. Like it was Chuck and Joan Didion and Martin Amis and Ian McEwen and all these people were there. And Chuck and I were talking and Nora Ephron came in. And Chuck is a Nora fan. And she was standing there and I remember you did this, Chuck, you went, oh, it's Nora. And I said, it's her, like she's here. And I said, do you want to meet her? And you were like, no. So I was like, no, you have to, like, you're a huge, huge fan. I know you love Heartburn. And so I walked over to Paul Bogarts, our amazing colleague at Knopf, and I said, Chuck wants to meet Nora. And he was like, bring him over. And then I remember I didn't go with you, but you guys stood there for probably like 20 minutes just chatting. And it was like this great moment of seeing you connect with somebody that you loved as a writer. And that was really awesome.
You know, and especially there were so many moving parts to the events. The events were always just had so many demands about, we need a space this size and we need a sound system and we need to be able to control the lights entirely. And we have nothing but needs. And you managed all those demands so that 800 people, most of whom had never been to an author event, we could give them something fantastic that they would walk away and want to go and see another author event. And even if something kind of unpleasant happened, it was still part of the sort of drama that we were presenting. And it was always just such an impossible task to synchronize the music and to set it up so other people could have the time of their lives. So it was like hosting an enormous Jay Gatsby party in one city after another for a dozen cities. And then as soon as we had it all perfect, as soon as the last event was just gloriously perfect and every cue was lined up, and you were a theater major and Chelsea's the theater major. So you knew all about theater. You knew exactly how to make this thing work. And you were like a director. You were like a director and a stagehand and the front of the house guy. You were everything. And it was all to serve those people so that every single person in there felt like they had taken part in this one-of-a-kind thing. And the heartbreak is that by the end, by the time we got the entire show, all the kinks worked out of it, it was over. The tour was over. But, you know, damn, it was just such an impossible task that you made happen every night. Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Oh, and dealing with people who weren't happy, you were such a bad cop.
Well, that was where I learned publicist voice, where you know, it was capital P, capital V. And that was when, you know, it's like, how can we help you? And, you know, something like that. And then, you know, whatever. And then, you know, Ginny from Anderson's knows, Daniel knows that there comes a point where it's like, I'm sorry, what did you not understand? You know, with whatever the crazy demand was, every publicist has done it. But I will say like 99.9% of the time, everybody who has come to an event has been wonderful and patient. And it really also, the thing that I've been thinking about a lot lately is I think specifically for book nerds like all of us, that books are both, you know, a door and a mirror. And I think that people can find themselves in books. I know I have throughout my life. You know, this apartment is littered with them. Randy says I can't bring one more thing in here without taking something out because I'm starting to hoard. But I think that at the events, it's this sense of community that combines that brings everybody together. And I think a lot of these stores, especially like tonight, like Watermark and Boswell and Anderson's, they're the reason that we are here. They're the reason that I'm here. They're the reasons that, you know, we have books in our hands. I have merch. I did dig out a few things. I dug out my Anderson's t-shirt, which is when I think of books, I touch my shelf. So that's one thing I have.
You guys,
Sarah.
do you know, Todd, like tonight is actually the anniversary of our Anderson's event in Milwaukee?
No, I did not
Really?
know that.
Literally.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I have my Sarah, I have my watermark hoodie that Chuck and I bought when we were at your store. Daniel, I do not have any Boswell merch, but I will go tonight and order some. And I also have, well, this is just one of many, but this is one of my Chuck shirts from our time together. But I think the most important thing is like support your bookstores, support the authors that come to your bookstores. And I'm just grateful for everything everybody's done to get us here tonight.
Well, and that's the thing about independents is really only the independents could host those fantastically giant offsite events and find a venue and orchestrate, make sure that everybody was completely served. Yeah, and it was just grueling. It was like mounting a military campaign, every year.
But it was so much fun. And I always remembered like looking and seeing how much you had done because the publicists, we're the caboose of the publishing train, right? So for those who are watching who may not know, like I help organize the events with the stores and the media and all that kind of stuff, the travel. And so I would always love to look at the end of the tour and see how long the schedules were. Like some of yours were like 65 pages long with all the moving parts. Yeah, it was good times. It was very good times. I did see something that I believe is from my sister in the chat that says, was that a Quattro's cup you just drank from? And yes, it is. Quattro's is our local favorite pizza place in Southern Illinois. And these are the only cups that I drink out of our apartment. I have a set of 4 and my parents send me new ones every holiday. So yes, sis, that is Quattro's cup. That's my plug. I'm hoping they'll send me some free merch. I'm kidding. That's a joke. That's a joke.
You deserve that free merch, Todd. But like, I do want to say, because I know we're kind of like, if anybody has any other questions, you can post them and I will try to track them and ask them for you. Like we're doing this for Todd, and we're also doing this to celebrate these wonderful independent bookstores, right? So if you're thinking about buying this book, buy it at an independent bookstore, buy it at your local independent bookstore, and ideally one of these 3. Perhaps buy a couple books from each of them, because it really makes a huge difference, and it's something that we can do. But like this is, it is such a terrific book that is going to make you feel better about yourself. And there are so few books that we can say that about. Like, feel better about yourself. It's not like Instagram, which makes you feel worse necessarily, right? Like this is guaranteed to make you feel better about yourself. So
if you need a quick pick me up, you can flip open to any page.
Any page, yeah.
I tried to make it also as sort of universal as I can. There's facts about science. There's stuff about animal group names that are in there. How long the Route 66 is. But it's just been this incredible journey over the past 18 months that I never expected that very first day. Who knew? I mean, who knew that we'd be in this? But yes, but like who knew where this would lead? And it's been just kind of fun. I mean, I would sit down every night. It took about an hour and a half to 2 hours, and it would be something that sparked it. I'm a pack rat, so I save everything. I save postcards and articles and stuff like that. Or we would be in the car driving, and I would take a photo of the radio screen to remember that song. And I think one of the weirdest parts of this, in the best sense, was that being so isolated and being so cloistered as we were here, all of us, and especially here in the Northeast, and not going into the office, I guess I started noticing things around me a little bit more, or remembering things a little bit more, and a lot of that worked its way into the book, or just, kind of falling down a rabbit hole of research every night. Like, this is not all committed from memory. There's no way I could do that. But that was another good thing that happened.
Well, and the book also demonstrates something, and I'm going to jet out of here for a second to bring something back, a relic. But your hobby, at least until your new place, was quilting. And it seems like this book is very much an act of kind of curating and preserving and archiving this enormous numbers of things of the moment and up to this moment. And so
Thank you.
in that way, it seems very much like this fantastic, quilting together of these very specific small details. And I find that really, really kind of completely in character with you. And
Oh, thank you, Chuck.
when Chelsea comes back, and I can talk
Hi.
to
There she
her.
is.
I'm here. Sorry.
Okay.
Eliza started printing from, my child downstairs, and it was noisy. So I was like, I'm just going to rip the printer cord out of the wall, not thinking the computer was also plugged into that. But it's fine. I'm back now on my laptop. Hi.
These are the wonderful surprises of Zoom events.
Yeah. And it was you were just getting so emotional too. I'm really sorry.
No, we're good. We're good. We're gonna roll with it. We're all okay.
We've lost Chuck, Todd.
He said he's going to. I think I know. I know what he's doing.
What's he doing?
He's gone to grab something. Oh, there it is. He's back.
What do you
I'm
got,
back.
sir?
Look at this. Todd made this fantastic quilt. Look at the colors of this. And look how small every single piece is. It's like a piece of pixelated art. It is so gorgeous. And in a way, this is so similar to what you've done with the book, taking all of these distinct things and putting them together in this fantastic mosaic way, so that they all look gorgeous and they all kind of accentuate each other. And every single thing is beautifully done and beautifully seamed together. And the craftsmanship is so fantastic.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you for this. This will always be in our house. So
of course.
I wish I'd hung it behind me. It's so beautiful. It is so absolutely beautiful.
Well, thank you for bringing it tonight.
It never goes into direct sunlight because the colors are so rich.
Thank you.
So thank you.
I've never made me a quilt.
Challenge accepted.
That's because you don't know where the bodies
like a
are
pot
buried.
holder, Todd, like a pot holder. How long would that take?
I can do that. Well,
I know where the bodies are buried, so I have special pull. I get quilts.
Yeah, that's fair.
I appreciate that, Chuck. And the thing about that kind of coming together, I think the last essay is one that I'm really, really proud of because it kind of sums up the book. So when the reader sees it at the beginning, I talk about how there's an essay called How This All Came About. And then the last essay is called The Things That Last. And the book is dedicated to Randy, my other half, and his mom, Dolores, who we lost in February, who was an amazing human being. And also to my mom and her parents and her grandmother. And that particular essay actually brings everything together at the end, starting with the dedication. So throughout the book, you're experiencing all these disparate things. And, these are things that have lasted, a piece of art, a book, anything that you're holding today. It could be new, it could be decades old or not. And the thing that struck me while writing this was that love lasts as well. And my mom lost her parents and her grandmother on the same day in 1960 due to a car accident and a heart attack. And I know that love lasts because they must have loved her fiercely for as much as she loves me and my sisters. So there are physical things that last, and there are emotional things that last too. And that's sort of how the book comes to a close. There's a very specific thing that happens in that essay that was really moving to me, that I think if you take a peek, it will hopefully move the reader too.
And I think another thing is that it will make people kind of aware of archiving their own lives. I
I
think,
hadn't thought of that.
one sort of mark of success is that when I read a book that I love, it makes me want to write. And so I think that people are going to read this book and it's going to really, really put them in touch with that same deep impulse to start to archive the things of their lives. And Todd makes it look easy.
Well, you are very kind, and if that happens, even if it's just 5 things that people are grateful for in a day, or their own list, or their own mixtape, their mixtapes throughout the book too, then that would just be awesome.
Oh my gosh, there's so many things I can't talk about because your parents are on here.
Exactly, Chuck.
I
Yes.
can scroll there. Okay, there's the number for Quattros, which is good. Let's see.
Yeah, it's mostly just compliments about how articulate and wonderful you guys are.
Aw. Well, I want to ask you one more thing before we go. So there's an essay I have in the book about teachers, and Mrs. Bullard was the teacher who actually might be here tonight, who made a difference in my life. And I know that the 2 of you are teaching together now, writing, and I'm wondering how it's going.
I'll call you later.
Chelsea, lie.
No, it's great.
Well,
It's
tell
great.
us when you started and how many students you have.
We started about 20 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
we've got about 22 students.
Yeah. What did the believer call them? Kind, magnificent weirdos.
Oh. And it's going very well. It seems like everybody is learning how to do at least one aspect of writing really, really well. Nobody's really put it all together yet, but everybody has improved in at least one aspect. So
that's great.
Yeah, I'm really happy with some quality of every single piece that we're seeing in workshop now.
Now, Chuck, I know you had taught before. Had you taught before, Chelsea?
No, not in any real way. No, nope,
Okay.
not at all. Like Chuck literally just sent me an email and was like, let's teach a class together. Like it was like one line. It's like, all right.
And that's how this all came about.
It's just I cycle back. Like we all seek community, right?
Sure.
And right, that is so much a part of this, of every project we've discussed, right? From the tour, from your book, certainly our class. It is just this, it's seeking community, like especially right now. It just feels so important. And I think that, we embarked, Chuck and I, on our particular project, out of the same impulse that,
Sure.
that you fueled, your desire to write this book. And I think, it's just more important than ever that we all do what we can to appreciate community and to embrace the community that we have and to reach out to people and to improve our own emotional intelligences, which is also something that I think your book is so brilliant at, because there are so many prompts, to one's own story.
That's true. I hadn't thought of it that way, but that's really true. The prompts are important. It can lead you. It's that line. It's that fine line of memory and discovery. That's kind of an interesting thing to think about.
Mm-hmm.
I will look one last. I think we've got all the questions answered. I'm just scrolling through quickly. There's lots of people that I know that are here. Hi to, oh my gosh, Germ is here from Nashville. Biba's here from Prague.
Oh, I remember we did an event in Nashville. That
We
was
did.
amazing.
It was incredible.
Was that the book festival?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Oh, do you remember the event with Stetson? No, it wasn't Stetson. It was at, it was the same time that they were premiering Sex and the City, the movie in San Francisco. And was it the director of the movie came over to our event instead of his own premiere?
That's
Yes,
right.
that was
We were
nice.
in a movie theater there. He escaped. He heard that you were there and he ran over.
Wow.
And we were spraying, I can't remember, it was Stetson because it must have been snuff. Because
It
we were
was. You
spraying Stetson in every single book. And we
You
just
did.
stunk of Stetson. Yeah.
for about 2 weeks after that tour was over.
Sounds
Yep.
really hot, you guys.
It was a crazy night. We've had some crazy times together, and tonight is one of them.
Mhm.
Oh my
We're
gosh.
very grateful for you, Todd, and grateful that you have given the world this book. Okay, like this
Thank you
is
guys.
it's a wonderful achievement, and thank you so much for including us in this evening. And like I'm not kidding. Like I'm literally buying 15 copies of this book at least.
Well, I am grateful to you. I am grateful for that. I am grateful for the both of you to be here tonight. I am grateful for your friendship and the support. And I am so thankful to Watermark and Anderson's and to Boswell for coming together and bringing us together. And for everybody who joined tonight, I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you loved the book. And thank you all so much. I mean, this is just, it's just incredible.
Oh, you know, I'm not going to let it go. I still
Oh
think we
God,
should
you
do.
don't tell that story. We almost made it. We
No,
almost made it.
no,
Chuck.
no. I'm just going to say, I think we've got to do a tour at some point
Yes,
in the near or
absolutely.
the far future. And all the plastic is on me, all the candy's on me. And we'll do a real tour and really throw that party again for everybody.
I will love that. We will not throw candy corn. I will be, easy on the projectile throwing. Like we will do that. I'm happy to come out to Portland. Oh, I do have to say, my niece Harper is here. Hi, Harper.
I saw that Harper is like, hi, Todd.
But I would love that. I will come out there anytime to be with you guys when we can do it. That would be amazing. Or maybe we come to Watermark or Anderson's or Boswell. But support your indies, and thank you all for tonight. This is amazing.
Thanks, Todd.
Thanks,
Right.
guys.
Love you guys. Goodbye.
Bye.